Oh, let me see. Everybody's, as always, in a different place in their guitar playing journey. And since I build this as a Guitar 1 class, I'm going to start from the beginning as far as like how to hold our pick and as far as, how to do the pick strum in this style. We're going to cover the foundational elements of backing up Texas style. As we go through the class, if you're like, okay, maybe I have a little more experience and want something a little bit fancier, you're always welcome to put something in the message or in the chat, excuse me. And it's easy for me to say, hey, for those of you who are a little further along down the path, here's another chord you can throw in here, or here's another way to do this drum. But keep in mind in guitar 2, I'll be getting fancy schmancy. So my goal for you is to leave guitar 1 over the course of these 3 weeks with feeling really confident with the straight G progression, 1, 4, 5 in G, the straight D progression, 1, 4, 5 in D, and the straight A progression, 1, 4, 5 in A. That's our goal. As you can see in the folder that I have built for you all, which let me pull that up with your guitar handouts. Let me share my screen. I've included in here all the songs in session 1 of Fiddle School that are common tunes that include the chords that are in our, that's not, here's what I want. So what I've included in here is our what we call the G progression. With the early resolve and with the late resolve. We'll talk about that. Then the Girl I Left Behind Me, which includes that straight G progression, but then it gets a little different in the B part. However, these are all chords we know. So if you're learning the chords and you're like, I really want to practice these same chords over other tunes, I've also included Golden Slippers, East Texas Drag, Peekaboo Waltz. Oh, and that's it. The other thing that I put in here in the class play-alongs, I put all of the play-along tracks slow and fast for those 3 songs for you to play along with. So what I'd recommend doing is downloading these all to your computer, which you can do by, can you just download all? Let me see here really quick. Yeah, you can go on the upper right-hand side where the 3 dots are and go to download, and it will download, it should download all of these for you. Then you can change the tempos and really get those as slow or as fast as you'd like. So those are your tools to work with. Let's go ahead and grab our guitars. Or when I was growing up, my fiddle teacher's husband used to call it the guitar. All right, let's get tuned up. So to start, I'll show you how I tune a guitar. At this bottom string that's an E, I put my second finger on the 3rd fret to tune it to that G note. Then next string is your A. And hopefully you're tuning to a tuner. Highly recommend it. Your next string over is your D. Next is your G. Now, when you get to that B string, if you tune it just open, the chord will sound slightly out of tune. So you want to put your second finger down on that 3rd fret on the D note. And then tune to that D note. On guitar, often if you're sharp and you need to bring it down, you bring it down below the note and then turn it up into the note. So on fiddle, we would just go back down right into it. But on guitar, we back down below it and then bring it up. The B string is the hardest. There will be no B strings in heaven. All right, and then here's our E. I like to strum a nice G chord to be sure that I'm nice and in tune. Okay. Let's hold our picks up to the screen. I'm going to show you how we hold the pick in, this is the same for Western swing, Texas style, and swing. So what you're going to do is make that little talking face, you know, where you did that as a kid. And then your thumb is pressing very lightly. Your pick is facing downward and it slides in right on top of, right at that first knuckle, and then our thumb gently comes across here. So my pick is pointing down, and you always want to be sure that when you're strumming, your pick is parallel to the floor. So you don't want it ever to be changing angles on that trajectory. So when you're here, you'll see that I let my 3 fingers loose. So you're welcome to let your 3 fingers loose or hold them in. Either way, you want a very light hold on the pick. Okay, so let me take a look at everybody's pick hold. Can you hold your pick into the screen, please? Okay, let's get the angle here. The angle's hard. Okay, so can you get to do this to where I can see your thumb in the screen? That looks good, Tony. You might my thumb is on the outside of the pick, so it's not far over the pick. It's just right, the edge of my thumb is at the edge of the pick. Looks good, Donna? Yep. Alice, looks good. I see your thumb kind of peeping out, so I would move your pick out a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Also notice that I have the entire upper part of the pick is, wow, I do not have these guitar angles down like I have fiddle angles down. The entire upper part of the pick is based against the first finger, the index finger, and then covered by the thumb. So if you can see any part of the upper part of the pick, then just kind of adjust so that we can only see this bottom part. Let's see yours, Jean. Nice. And then the thumb in this is flat. Cool. Louise, let me see yours. Okay, so your index finger is pointing downward, and I want it to be pointing, I want it to be curled in. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. All right. All right, Gina, how's yours? That looks great. Okay, awesome. Now, with the strum, what you want to do is there are a couple parts to the strum. The first is the pick. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a second finger on my G note. It's on the 3rd fret. And as I pick, it's like I'm bouncing off of a trampoline. And my arm is coming straight up. So the pick portion is like shaking somebody's hand. Be sure that you're not picking and coming out towards your screen. You want to pick and come straight up towards your chin. And so let's for a second pick and jump above the body of the guitar so that you're sure that you're using your arm on this. you're all fiddle players, and so you're going to be good at using your arm, but your wrist might want to be too relaxed, so this helps us just get in the groove. Okay, so now I want you to build your G chord. And now we're going to pick, and then we're going to strum through all the strings. And you're going to stop right at the bottom of that E. So you're not going to strum all the way down like that. You're going to strum just as much as you need, and then you're going to circle back up. So we have pick that jumps up. Now we have strum that strums in circles. When you're strumming through the strings, you want to think of it as this is one string, like it's just one thick string, and you're just strumming through. So we strum small circle, strum small circle. And again, you're trying to make sure your motion is as efficient as possible, so you definitely don't want to be doing big motions. You want small strum, small circle. We want to hear each string in that. So great, let's put that together now. We're going to have pick, strum, pick, strum, pick, strum. And as a rhythm guitar player, you're the bass player and the drummer. So the place where you're the bass player is on the pick. So you want to be sure to really pop your bass notes out and then get a nice strum. Okay, very good. Now, let's see if we can go ahead and rotate the strings. So we're going to pluck the G string. Then we're going to pluck the A string where our first finger's down, so this is a B note. So now we're going to rotate the bass note. Yeah. Take me back to Tulsa. We haven't done D yet, so we have to stop there. Okay, so I think an important thing to note here is that the pick and the strum represent quarter notes. So they each represent one beat. And then in our fiddle tunes, we're basically playing eighth notes. So if this is the quarter note, the eighth note is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so that's how we fit together with the fiddle player. When you're reading a chord, one of my chord charts and most people's chord charts, one letter in the chart is worth 2 pick strums, because it's worth 4 beats. And so we'll get there. All right, how's everyone feeling on the G? Okay, let's go to C. All right, we've got some good C chords there. Okay, on the C chord, now we're not gonna be strumming the low E note, all right? We're just gonna, oh, this is what I meant to show you to answer Jean's question. Hang on a second. Okay, so on my chord chart here where I put the stars, those are the notes that will be your bass notes. So as we go to this C chord, see how there's this little X right here? That's because we're going to mute that string. And then we have these 2 little stars. Sorry, they're really little, but if you print them out, they'll be big, I promise. these are your two bass notes where those two stars are. So the stars will represent your bass notes in answer to Jean's question. So for this, we're gonna pick the C note, which is on the A string, and then we're gonna strum all the way through those 5 strings. And now you're gonna pluck the D string. We're on an E note, so you're gonna rotate. A string, D string, C note, E note. And so now, if we're doing this, we pluck and come up. We strum through, we circle up, we pluck the next string, come up, and then strum through. How we doing? Let's put those together. Do we have questions? Yeah, Debbie. And go ahead and unmute if you don't mind.
So is it because it's Texas style that's the second bass note that we're playing instead of?
It's because it's guitar 1.
Okay. Okay.
So if you want to see what Debbie just did, in my mind, I was like, should I show them that? But Debbie just spilled the beans. So, so there are other options for bass notes. And the another option, if you're ready for it, you can lift your 3 and bring it to the E string. And when you do that, you kind of mute this A string here. This is rotating for a lower bass note, which I love this. I use both of those options.
It just seems easier to hit it cleanly.
I think it's really good to know both.
Okay.
Because if you're backing somebody up on Billy in the Low Ground and you're playing that C a million times, it's nice to have one other option. This is where improvisation in rhythm guitar playing becomes a thing. It's great to have options.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Other questions? Okay, let's put this together. So in our G progression, we're gonna go G, G, C. Now, I want you to listen to this bass line. That is a Texas style bass line. Let's play that together before we add the strum. So just the bass line. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. Back to G. Cool, cool. So I highly recommend practicing just the bass line so that you really get used to hearing that. That is beat 1 and 3. The bass line is so important. So you really want to have that down. One more time. Bass line only. 2, 3, 4. Back to G. And then we'll be going to D. But let's add the strum now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to G. Excellent. One more time now. 2, 3, 4. Back to G. Now let's go to D. Pluck your D string and then your A string. And if you're not sure, is anyone in here learning the name of the guitar strings for the first time? Okay, everyone's okay for the most part if I say string names. Cool. Okay, so on that D, let's practice strumming those or picking those open strings. This is another one where we don't strum the low E. Another thing that you'll note in Texas style, in bluegrass, you're going to hear players and C players strum down here below the sound hole. In Texas style and Western swing, we play right down the middle of the sound hole. Okay, since everyone's doing so well on that D chord, just like we did a C variation, I'm going to do a D variation. This is something that I'm kind of known for doing. Other guitar players might look at you and be like, what are you doing? But I promise you will love it. I use this other D bass note, and it's my thumb. So what I do is I pluck the D string, then I bring my thumb around over the E string on the 2nd fret. Did everyone find that? And then that leads you really nicely to this G. So let's try that option. For those of you who are adventurous, you can also stick on the open string option. I use that all the time. All right, so. It's unconventional, yes. It sounds awesome also. So if you'd like to join me in the thumb club, feel free. Here's our straight G progression so far. 2, 3, let me get the sound hole. 3, 4, G, C, let's do that again. 2, 3, 4. That was the version with the thumb. Now let's talk about getting from one chord to the next. When I am transitioning from one chord to another, I'm thinking about what is the first note I'm going to be playing in my right hand. That's the finger that needs to get there first. So I always build the chord from the bottom up. I always place the finger on the lower string before the others. So for instance, I know that when I go to C, the first note I'm plucking is this 3rd finger. So I get that 3rd finger down, and I know I have time to put down the other fingers behind it. Then going to the G, I know my middle finger is going to be played first. I get that down, I pluck, and then I get my other fingers down. For the D, we're plucking an open string. But going back to the G, get your middle finger down first. with your 3. Good. So for the G chord, we always lead with our middle finger. For the C chord, we lead with our 3rd finger. I'm always thinking of what finger's leading. And this will become really important when you start getting into the 9 chords and the 6 chords, like we'll do in guitar too. So if you start thinking about which finger is leading throughout guitar 1, it will help you later. Even if you already play the chords, still be thinking about what is my leading finger on this chord. Okay. Let's go back to the G progression. And now let's look at how we've done this much. G, C, G, D. Back half, G, C, D, G. Okay, so let's do that back half now. Back half starts with your G chord, C chord, D chord, G chord, and then you're to the top. One more time. 2, 3, 4. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. Very good. Okay, let's go from the top. Let's put it all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is a straight G progression with an early resolve. That's how most other genres do this progression. But as we get into tunes like Leather Britches and Bitter Creek and Shortening Bread, Orville Burns' Shortening Bread, and these straight G tunes, you're going to have a later resolve, is what we call it. And so that is going to be the second progression in your packet. If I show you it, you'll see how we do the same G, so here's where we stay on the D for 2 extra beats. You'll generally hear this as a walk. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you this walk. You can do it 2 different ways. You're on the E string, the low string. You can either use your open to your 1, your index finger to your middle finger, and that's your G chord. So it's pluck the open string, pluck the F sharp, which is your first finger on the 2nd fret, pluck the G. So you have 3 plucks in a row, build your G chord, and strum. You'll often see me do it open, thumb, middle finger. I don't know why I do it that way. It's just how I always have done it. So if you're more comfortable doing that, you can definitely do that. If you would like to be as unkosher as I am about using my thumb in guitar. Here's how our full D chord sounds. Pluck the D string, pluck the A string, walk to G. All right, so let's try that. We're on the 5 chord, the D, 2, 3, 4. D chord. Pluck the A, walk to G. Beautiful. One time a little bit slower just to be sure we catch everyone. 3, 4. Did everyone get that walk? Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's try the whole progression. So this will be more like leather britches with that long D. Let's call it the long D, the long 5 chord. 2, 3, 4, G, C, G, D, G, C, D, walk. Very good. How did that go for y'all? Sweet. Okay, shall we keep on going? So I can tell you that something that is deceivingly difficult is when someone's playing like a 10-part leather britches. Like if you sit down and you play guitar with me, I'm going to play my whole leather britches. It's going to be like 10 or 12 parts, and your only job is to do that same thing over and over and over. And so that's why I encourage you to play with the recordings. And I'll put a couple more recordings in there. I just have to go through all my bootleg recordings. Hi, Eric. And be sure that they're in tune, because some of them are a little sharp, a little flat. So I have to find the right one. I'll try to get some recordings in there for you all of tunes like that for you to play along with, so that you can practice getting in that mode of doing the same thing over and over and over again. In guitar too, we're going to learn all the variations that you can do over this progression. But right now what I want to do is take you into some other tunes where we have these same combination of chords, just used in a different order. So we're still on G, C, D. And how are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, cool. All right, so what is my next tune in here? Okay, Girl I Left Behind Me, let's get the second part. Well, no, no. Katie, let's go on. Okay, I'm talking to myself. What I'd like to do now is Golden Slippers. This one you can, I did put a chart in there for you, but you can really use your ear on this one. The first part is all G and D. D chord. Repeat. D chord. Rotate your bass note. If you want to walk, bow them golden to the C chord. D chord. G, back to D. G, them golden now to C. Them golden slippers D. Really pop your bass notes. Repeat. Walk to G. G, them golden off to C. Now to D. G, quick D. G, golden slippers C. Them golden slippers D. All right, so you can see how there are a couple of things that we want to focus on here. Is my arm moving in the right way, just like a handshake? You want to be sure that you're not picking or strumming and going outward. You want to make sure there's no rotation in your wrist. That's beautiful, Louise. Yeah, Jennifer. And then you want to listen to your sound and you want to go, okay, am I popping those bass notes? Am I rotating the bass notes? Am I hitting the correct bass note? And then you want to go, is my ear guiding me for the chords, or am I reliant on this chord chart in front of me? The more quickly you can memorize guitar progressions, the better. So that's why I always teach the G progression first and just this standard progression, because it gives you that sense of like, what does it sound like to go from a 1 chord to a C chord? And your ear will start to pull you there. Did anyone feel their ear pulling them towards the chords during that? Cool. That's what I'm hoping starts sinking in as you're working on guitar, is not feeling like, I know I'm being recorded, but I'm just gonna say this. In fiddle, We cross every T, we dot every I. Like we have to think about so many things. In guitar, I want you to really take advantage of your instincts because you have them and they will just come through for you in times of need. So I hope that makes sense. Times of need being like, I'm in a jam and I have no idea what this song is. You'll be fine. Okay. How do we all do on Golden Slippers? So that D chord is, when we're in the key of G, it is the 5 chord. And you'll often see on a chord chart that it says D7, and then you see all these guitar players playing a D, and you're like, well, like, what is it? Is it a D or a D7? Whenever you see a D7, you can always play a D. Whenever there's a 7th chord, you can always ignore the 7 and just do the chord. But if you want to learn the D7 chord, I have put it on one of your sheets here. Let me see which sheet I put it on. Oh, I put it on your Golden Slippers sheet. So you do have this notated. But the way it works is you're gonna go on the B string and put your 1 there. And then you're gonna sandwich around that. Put your middle finger on the G string and your ring finger on the E. So you have a nice little triangle there. And we don't strum the E chord on, or the E string, excuse me, on that chord. So that's your D7. I'm still gonna rotate between the D string and the A string. So we're gonna do Golden Slippers again. And this time, we're gonna use the D7. Here we go. And then if you're feeling like I can't really get to that in real time yet, go ahead and use the D. Bum, ba-da-dum, da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, da-da-dum, D chord. D and walk to G, top. D and walk to G. Second part, G. Them golden slippers see. Them golden slippers D. Them golden slippers, oh. Them golden slippers, walk to G. So a couple of things I put in that. When you're on this D7 chord, you can totally use your thumb down here if you want to get that bass note. Keep in mind, you don't have to hold your thumb down as you're strumming through. You can just get it for that note. You don't have to hold it. That was one thing I did. The other thing I did, we'll call the Debbie. I went down low on this C. So you can go down low with your thumb, rotating your thumb from the A string to the E string. Or you can go up high, not moving your fingers, but just rotating, rotating your pick. So those are the types of things that I like to vary in my rhythm guitar playing. First, memorize a way to do it, and then know what your options are to put in. All right, any questions? Okay, let's keep going, huh? Why is Gina showing her lower lip? Okay. What did you say, Gina?
I said I'm concentrating really hard.
I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. I won't single you out. Okay. So now we're going to go on to oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. East Texas Drag. I wanted to do this one with you guys because it's an East Texas Serenaders tune. And it's from the early 1900s, but it's kind of more of a swing tune, and the chords just happen a little bit differently, but they're very evident in the melody. So this one is going to start just like our normal G progression. But then instead of going to D, right there, we stay on the G. So let's practice that G, C, G, G. We're just aiming to really rotate our bass notes in the right way. A 1, 2, 3, 4. C, G. Now D or D7. You can choose your poison. Okay, so this song is very interesting because we're going to have 2 measures of D. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Then we have a quick G, just one pick strum, quick D, and then a full G. So this song is really great if you're working on getting from one chord to the next, to practice going G, D, G, and again G, D, G, G, D, G. And I'll show you what that looks like on my chart. It looks like this. So whenever I put in a slash chord like that, it means that it's 2 beats of G, 2 beats of D, back to G. All right. So I could see looking at my chart that let's see, I might have messed up something. I just showed you the end of the part. That was the end of both the parts. But the way this is going to go in the middle, so if I go from the top, starting on a G chord, C chord, 2 Gs, now 2 Ds, 1 G, 1 D. D chord, 2 measures. Now split chord. That's the whole A part. That's the whole A part. Let's do that again together. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm imagining a visual of 4 chords in a line, just how it's written out. I want you to visualize this all written out. And you're thinking of 4 as a guitar player, ultimately what you want to get to is that you're thinking of 4 chords at a time. So it's not so much like, okay, here's 1 chord. Okay, what's the next chord? What's the next chord? You want to have an idea of where you're going so that you can map out which finger is leading you. Okay, so if I map that out in my mind, G, C, G, G, D, D, G, D. Then it repeats. G, C, G, G. D, D, now G/D, G. That's what I'm picturing, how I'm picturing it in my mind. Let's try that all together now. See if I can get a good shot. Leading with your middle finger on your G chord. 2, 3, 4. How did you do? Questions?
I have a question. I notice you're doing, especially on those split measures, like a little upstrum in there.
Yeah, I am. Okay, good ears, good ears. I was debating whether to mention it or not. Since you brought it up, I will. So Texas style is a very downbeat oriented strumming style. When I get around, like, I say normal musicians because I've been around Texas style players all my life, but like when I started going to festivals and hanging around like other musicians of other genres, they'd be like, do you just do no upstrokes? Like, why are there so many downstrokes? And I never realized that it was such a different way of playing. So if you're used to playing bluegrass, or if you sit down and are playing with a guitar player who plays bluegrass style, you're going to have to tell them don't do any upstrokes, just all downstrokes. And they'll sound super awkward, but it'll be a little closer to what you want. However, you'll see that sometimes I do a little upstroke. So you want to use this very sparingly. Yeah, that's a nice place to do it. I tend to do it at the ends of parts or in the middle of the part. So let's do it at the end of this part where, let me get real close up here. I'm going to go to it. I'm going to be on a D chord. So I'm going to do a pick strum and then a pick, up, down. So when I'm doing that, and this is my first time ever teaching this, so we're going to go down and then you do an upstroke. I'm kind of only doing these top 2 strings, and then I'm strumming down. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And since these picks and strums are quarter notes, when you do an upstroke, it's in between the two. And how I would fit that in is I'd go. So it'd be G chord, D upstroke, G. Let's do that again. G chord, D, G, D and go, D, G, D. Yeah. Did you get it? Okay, I'll point out when I do that in other places. Okay, so second part. Oh, other questions? Tony, did you just raise your arm? No. Okay, I'm seeing things. All right, let's do the second part of this. How many of you play East Texas Jag on fiddle? Oh, okay. All right, a couple of you do. If you don't play it on fiddle, really fun one in my book 1. But a good one to bring into jams, especially if you want something more swingy. And we'll go over, so the chords I'm showing you are open chords, totally acceptable for this song. In guitar 2, I'll go over some of the more swingy type of chords. And my goal for you right now is to really get this drum, really get the memorization down, and really feel confident in the genre. So, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, this one. You know what? Speaking of those upstrums, I use these a ton in this B part. They're not required, so I'll go through once without them. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. C chord. Dun, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-dee. G, D, G. Same thing again. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. C, D, G, D, G. So the B part is the same thing twice. Let's talk upstrums. Bum, 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 ba-da-dun. So on the second bar of the G, I do 2 upstrums. So it would be pick, up, down, pick, up, down. Totally not required, just a fancy thing you can do if you want. Pick, up, down. Yeah, so we have one normal measure of G, and then one offbeat. And the melody is bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da. Now do it on the C. Yeah, I like how that subdivision fits in with the melody. Let's try it a couple times on C. So we're plucking, up, down, pluck, up, down. Sorry. And shuffle guitar playing. guitar playing is when you are taking this strum, the upstrum, and you're doing it every time. So shuffle guitar playing, like country shuffles, would be down, up, different bass note. It's kind of cool to know what that is, but just keep in mind that when you're playing, Katie, what are these chords for shuffle? Oh, I was just playing a C. I was just playing a C chord, and I was just showing you the shuffle strum because you can use that in like my shoes keep walking back to you. You can use a shuffle strum. Well, I say I didn't care. Hold my head up in the air. I could tell my friends I'm glad that you're gone. So for our fiddle tunes, we're doing more like, I could say I didn't care. Hold my head up in the air. I could tell my friends I'm glad that you're gone. So those are two different kinds of strumming. And you could even do a third kind, which is what I've showed you to apply in the tunes, which is the one Jennifer was asking about, where we're going. We're just doing, it's just a one-time upstroke. Does that make sense? So let's see if we can rotate between these three rhythmic feels. So let's go to a G chord and let's start on the pick strum. Now let's add just one shuffle. Now all the shuffle. And when you're doing the shuffle, your downstrokes are the most important. So, oh, sorry. Your downstrokes are your beat 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I super digress, but it's really cool to have your ear on those right hand ideas because right now you want to get a really, really solid right hand. You're gonna be able to change chords quicker and quicker over time, but fiddle players will want to play with you if you can keep a steady rhythm. So if you can keep a steady rhythm and you want to put in some shuffle, go for it. If it messes with your time, practice it, keep practicing it, but maybe don't bring it into the jam right away. Gina.
Yeah. So when I'm playing Texas, I'm trying to not swing the eighth notes. And I don't really want the guitar to swing the eighth notes either. when I'm playing swing, I want to swing the eighth notes, and I don't want the guitar to swing the eighth notes. But shuffle sounds like guitar swinging eighth notes.
It is.
Talk to me, Katie.
Okay, really awesome thoughts. Okay. Every fiddler swings naturally. So even though I talk about fiddling being straight, some fiddlers swing more than others, but the fiddle player is going to be the only one who has a little bit of natural swing in their playing. And it's not even audible a lot of times, unless you're listening to players like Luke really super swing and it's super audible. I'm not going to sound as swingy when I'm playing my breakdowns because I'm playing faster, so it's just not swinging as much, but you do have a little natural swing in there. Guitar player is going to play straight. Thing has a slight swing to it because the fiddle player has a slight swing to it, but ultimately, Gina, I'm thinking of it all as straight, because we aren't going to be like, we're not going to get like ska. We're not going to be doing like ska type stuff. So I guess I try to always listen, and because sometimes rhythmic feel isn't as easy to put in an academic box as we want it to be. Do you know what I mean? But the shuffle absolutely has a little bit of swing that's driving it. And when I'm doing the upstroke, it has a little bit of swing that's driving it, but it's going to be played at such a fast tempo that it's not going to sound or feel swung.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It's such a great thought, and it's a great conversation because really this is like at the heart of all of our music is the rhythmic feel. I hope that helps.
It does help. To be continued.
To be continued. I'd like to do a little bit of Peekaboo Waltz because I'd like for you all to just kind of have an overview of each one. And now this one has an optional A minor in it. A lot of people do play that A minor as a C chord, but I do want to I'm going to go ahead and just show you the A minor chord. So if you build your C here, and now lift your third finger and bring it onto the G string. That's your E shape, but up a string. There's your A minor. So it's really easy to get to from a C chord. So here's what I want to practice. I want to get into the waltz strum, which is going to be pick, strum, strum, pick, strum, strum. And we're going to rotate between C, A minor, C, A minor. Y'all look great. Okay. All right, so let's play Peekaboo Waltz. Starting on the G chord. With my fiddle singing here. We won't let these recordings get out. Okay. Yeah. to show you a couple of things here. Going from the C, find your A minor. Now, when we go from A minor to D7, your 1 stays put and your 2 and 3 just each hop over a string. Yeah. And then if you want, your thumb can take you back to that G. So that's cool. Then whenever you're ending a waltz on guitar, it's gonna be bum, 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 bum. So I wanna show you how to do this waltz ending. We're always gonna go from the 1 chord to the 5 chord. So it's gonna be pick, strum on the 1 chord, then go to the 5 chord, which is the D, and just strum, and then go back to the G and do a strum through all the strings. So you're going pick, strum, strum. Yeah, let's try that again. 2, 3, pick, strum, strum. Yeah, did everyone get that? So that's the case when you're doing any waltz. A and E waltz, which is in the key of A, will be A, A, E, A. No one ever taught me that. I wish someone would have taught me that. I had to figure it out. I'm jealous of you all. Okay, so my plan for Guitar 1 is that next week we will do the same thing in the key of A. And so I want to take a moment before we clock out to show you how, show me your A chord. Let me see you all build your A chord. Louise, are you on a tenor guitar today? I just noticed there were a few pegs short. Cool. Okay. So we're all accustomed to this 3-finger A chord. Oh, Tony's got it. Tony, let's see it. Yep. Okay. Yep. So what I want you all to work on this week, this is the A chord that I put in your sheet because I know that everyone knows some kind of A chord here. But ultimately what we want to do is we want to bar. Don't be scared. We're only barring 3 strings. Think of it as a smush. The D, the G, and the B. And then, if you can, get your pinky up to that A. This is the A chord, and my thumb is way back here. So you can bring your thumb as far back as you need. Really mash down with your first finger. This takes a little while to get, but I'm strumming from my A string. This is the A chord that fiddle players tune to. Because we have this A and we have this A. So whenever a fiddle player is like, give me an A, and then a guitar player goes like this, I'm like, come on, give me the good chord. Anyone in Texas style is gonna give you, thanks for laughing, this chord to tune. This is the chord I give you to tune to. The other reason we want to know this chord is so that when we do the A progression, we can use that bass note. And when I go for that bass note, notice how I don't put the pinky down. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get this chord, I just can't reach that pinky. The pinky doesn't matter unless you're tuning up a fiddle player, okay? But like often when I'm playing that A chord, I just mute the E. And I'm not even playing it. But when I go to this C sharp bass note, no one's keeping their pinky up there. I want to know this chord so that I can play this bass note. And so that I can play this F sharp minor. Or without the thumb. So it opens up all kinds of cool bass notes. All right, how are you doing mashing that string down? Is anyone feeling like I'm not getting it? Yeah, this is a doozy on your hand. Okay, Alice has like probably not the ideal guitar for this because the neck is so thick, but her fingertips won't hurt as badly because she's got those nylon strings. How's that A chord going for you, Alice? Let me hear it. Can you, would you kindly unmute?
With the fourth finger, I haven't mastered that yet. This is the only, whoops. Ooh. Whoops, but this is the only guitar I have. I'm gonna try to see if I can borrow a smaller one.
Yeah, the neck is pretty thick on classical guitars. And
Yeah,
I mention it just because people may not know that. So that's why we all play on these steel string guitars that just kill your fingertips. When you're if you haven't played it, like I haven't played in a week or so, and my calluses are talking to me, but you will build up the calluses. And I mean, Alice, I started on a classical guitar because that's what my mom had. So you'll be fine. You'll be able to get around it. But if you can borrow one with a thinner neck, it'll be a little easier on your hand. Um, Jennifer, how's that A chord going for you?
Want me to play it?
Yeah.
Whoa. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Oh, good. Jennifer. Yeah. Okay. This is
Oh,
for all of you to know that this is the only bar chord that I play ever. So that's all you're getting with me. Okay. Um, so if you would work on that A chord, Jean, how's your A chord? Would you mind unmuting? Let's see. Is your one on the same is it on the second fret?
Yes. 3, 4, and 5 strings.
Yes. Yep.
Sounds a little muted.
That's okay. And then if you can get your pinky up one more. Can you go up to the 5th fret with the pinky, or does it not want to go there?
So is the wrist is away from the back of the neck?
Your wrist can be touching the neck or it can be away. Mine is away just because it's the only way I can reach it. If it is touching though, that's okay. Yes. That's it. Okay, so that's the way my A chord sounded when I was learning this chord for a couple of months. Because you have to really build up the finger strength there. So what I would focus on, Jean, rather than the fourth finger, is just getting the smush. And I'm just thinking here. I do provide counterweight with my thumb on the back edge of the guitar. It helps, it gives me something to push into. So hopefully that will help. You gotta mash it down pretty hard. So I want everyone to focus on the mash this week. And then also your E chord. We'll use the E chord next week in this progression. Any questions? Did I miss anything? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. This was a great class. I've been wanting to do this for years. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have fun jamming this week. And I'm going to be putting all of our classes in one playlist in YouTube. And so you'll just see the classes pile up in there. You'll receive an email with this class first thing tomorrow. And as always, if you have any questions or if you're like, hey, can you give us a couple more things? Let me know what you're having in mind. And I think that's all I have for today. Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording.